in great astonishment. Having seen all these incidents in Brihadvan, Nanda Maharaj became more and more astonished, and he remembered the words spoken to him by Vasudeva in Mathura. Text number 34. There's no purport here. Text 34. Ekadarpakam adaya svankam aropya bhamini prashnutam payayamasa stanam sneha paripluta. One day Mother Yashoda, having taken Krishna up and placed him on her lap, was feeding him milk from her breast with maternal affection. The milk was flowing from her breast and the child was drinking it. Text number 35 and 36. Pita prayasya janani sutasya ruchira smitam mukam lalayati rajan trimbato dadrishe idam kamrodasi jyotirani kamasaha surenduvani svasanam budamscha Tripannagamsta duhitri vanani bhutaniyani stirajangamani. O King Parikshit, when the child Krishna was almost finished drinking his mother's milk, and Mother Yashoda was touching him and looking at his beautiful, brilliantly smiling face, the baby yawned. And Mother Yashoda saw in his mouth the whole sky, the higher planetary system and the earth, the luminaries in all directions, the sun, the moon, fire, air, the seas, islands, mountains, rivers, forests, and all kinds of living entities, moving and non-moving. Purport. By the arrangement of Yogamaya, Krishna's pastimes with Mother Yashoda were all regarded as ordinary. So here was an opportunity for Krishna to show his mother that the whole universe is situated within him. In his small form, Krishna was kind enough to show his mother the Virata Rupa, the universal form, so that she could enjoy seeing what kind of a child she had on her lap. The rivers have been mentioned here as the daughters of the mountains. Nagams taduhitrihi. It is the flowing of the rivers that makes big forests possible. There are living entities everywhere, some of them moving and some of them not moving. No place is vacant. This is a special feature of God's creation. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gunanjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahayam Dadati Svapadantikam Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lankayate Gurim Yat Kripatamaham Bande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. So it's interesting that Prabhupada mentions that this pastime is extraordinary. Krishna revealing his Virat Rupa to Yashoda Mai is extraordinary. Whereas the killing of Putana, the killing of Shakatasura, the killing of Trinavata, this is ordinary activities. What does Krishna say in the Bhagavad Gita? Many things, of course, but Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya chatuskritam, right? To protect the devotees. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chatuskritam, to kill, to destroy. Vinashaya means to destroy. Vinash means to destroy the asuras, the non-devotees. So they're described as ordinary activities. Protecting the devotees, killing the demons, dharma samstapanataya, right? Establishing religious principles, dharma. Sambhavami yuge yuge. This is Krishna's purpose. Right? Krishna has a purpose. God has a purpose. Everybody has a purpose, I guess, whether they realize it or not. Have you, hands up, all those of you who've worked out what your purpose in life is? Please raise your hands. Okay, 2 or 3, that's good. Took me a long time to work out. I got sick of people asking me when I was a teenager, what are you going to do when you grow up? I didn't know. Stop asking me stupid questions that I don't know the answer for. But Prabhupada does mention in the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna has a plan. Right? He wants prosperity for everybody. He wants everybody to be happy. Right? He wants everybody to live a life of prosperity. Of course, that's also within the context of the fact that the material world is not a place for actual prosperity. Right? It's all temporary. And so, you know, we gain something, we lose something. Right? And this is a cause of happiness and distress from the material platform. But the actual platform of happiness is based on understanding one's spiritual identity. Right? On Thursday, I did a funeral for one of our devotees whose husband had passed away. And it really struck me, this point, that we had the devotee who'd left was there. The body was there. Right? But where was he? Where was he? Huh? Where was he? And that's why everybody's crying, I guess, because we don't know. The material world is designed in such a way so that when somebody passes on, you don't know where they've gone. No? Not possible to know. There are some things that we can't perceive. And that's interesting also because as I pointed out, he's here, but he's not here. Right? Because the body, you know, the person is made up of more than one element. Many elements make up our personality. And the critical element in this particular case was the body's there, but no living soul, no living entity. So very, very, very easy to appreciate that the person is there, but the person is not there, which is our Achincha Abheda Tattva. Simultaneously one with, but different. And the difference in this particular case was the living entity was gone. Huh? Very interesting. And so in that sense, we get an inkling, or we get a sense of the nature of the soul, right? Or in this particular case, the lacking. So there's a contrast, striking contrast. 1 minute he's there, the next minute he's gone. What's the difference? The difference is that which makes up the personality. So challenging for most. This kind of confrontation is challenging for most of us, all of us. But Krishna appears, he has a purpose, he appears to re-establish dharma and to reawaken everybody's understanding of who they are and what they should be doing. Right? And so Prabhupada makes a point in the Bhagavad Gita that everybody should have a plan. Right? I was talking to Mukund yesterday, we were talking about what's nice about coming to the temple. What do you enjoy about coming to the temple? Huh? You all enjoy coming to the temple? Huh? What do you enjoy the most? Everything. You're just a bhakta. You know, we used to say when somebody joined a temple, oh, he's a real bhakta. You know, because basically they would do anything you ask them to do. Oh, he's a real bhakta. Okay, what else? You like everything? What else? What's your favourite? When you come to the temple, what's your favourite? What do you enjoy the most?
I've been trying to understand this for many years.
You've been trying to work it out for many years, huh?
Many years.
Yeah. What's your conclusion?
I have got it now.
You've got it.
I think
Tell us.
whatever your mind is saying, is enjoying, the mind enjoys stuff.
Yeah.
So whatever mind is not enjoying is actually now enjoying. So
That's a bit cryptic. Explain a bit more. I'm intrigued.
So like, this is my second day from Mangalarti.
Yes.
So I just woke up at 3:30.
3:30. Did you enjoy that?
So bodily, physically, maybe not, but then I took a cold shower.
Ah.
And then I just started walking to the temple.
Yeah.
And when I was walking, the whole thing, I was chanting here and doing darshan. So I'm like very alive now. So
Alive. I'd be alive too after a cold shower. We used to, in the men's ashram, we used to have one hot shower when I joined. And so there was always a competition to get the hot shower. But then if you didn't get the hot shower, what did you do? Did you wait, or did you have to take a cold shower? Which do you prefer? Cold. I tell you what, I didn't prefer the cold, but you had to take the cold shower. If you're waiting for the hot shower, you're a bit of a wimp. But then what happened was, Rameshwara Prabhu came to Melbourne, and he told Balaram, he said, "You've got to put hot showers in the bathroom. There should all be hot showers, not cold." it's too hard. But anyway, good on you.
Yeah, so I think it's just the
Peace from doing that.
whatever is
Yes, yeah,
being just happy.
yes, yeah, that's good. Okay, who's inspired by Prabhu's appreciation, especially the cold shower? Woo! Did you have a cold shower this morning, Hare Gopal? Anybody else had a cold shower? Whew. Anyway, it's, you know, in 26 Second Avenue there weren't hot showers. You had a cold shower? After the hot shower. You know, in Russia, in Siberia, when it's really cold, people go into the sauna and heat up and heat up and heat up. And then when the hot's too hot, then they go outside and roll in the snow, cool off. We don't get that luxury in Australia. So what else? What else? Prabhu appreciates the rising early and chanting the Mahamantra. Huh? Yeah. And the peace that comes. What else? What else do you enjoy? Rishabh? Taking darshan. Yep, taking darshan. Yes. What's good about taking darshan? Yeah, get to see Krishna. Uttama Bhakti, what's your favourite? Here in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Yes, there's nothing as purifying as the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Or the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam following the japa, Mahamantra, right? And the chanting of Hare Krishna purifies the consciousness so that we're able to hear and absorb the message of the Bhagavatam. Very powerful. Yeah. What else? What about the ladies? What do you enjoy? Huh? Devotees Association. Yeah. What's nice about the Devotees Association? Positive vibes. Yeah. I was struck by the fact that the devotees would only talk about Krishna, right? I would want to talk about some mundane thing that was floating around in my head, and they wouldn't have a bar of it. All they would do is talk about Krishna. I thought, gee, these people are odd. All they do is talk about Krishna. What else? Kirtan. Yeah. Anandam buddhi vardhanam pratipadam purnam ritas vardhanam sarvatma snapanam. That's a bath, right? Different kind of bath. Not cold, not a cold shower, but very enlivening. Kirtan, yeah. Param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Yeah. Okay, so the Dharma samstapanataya, the establishment of Dharma, especially in Kali Yuga, is the chanting of Hare Krishna and all of the activities that we engage in. What about prasadam? What do you think about that? Yeah. So, Krishna reveals himself with his yawn. Right? And why is Krishna yawning? Why is Krishna yawning? Why does a baby yawn Or on what occasion does a baby yawn? Huh? Say that again?
Wants to sleep?
Yes, but why? That's true. Maybe. In this particular case, what's happened before the yawn? Drinking milk. So he's been fed. And when a baby's been fed, what do? Hands up, the mums here, they can tell us. What happens when a child has been fed?
They want to rest.
Huh?
They want to do some rest.
Yeah, and what comes before the rest? Huh? Burps. That's true. What's that? Yawning. Huh? Full of milk, maybe a burp, then a yawn. Right? And then what happened? When Krishna yawned, what happened? Huh? Saw everything. Everything inside of Krishna. And Prabhupada explains, Krishna revealed the Virat Rupa within himself. So the whole creation is within Krishna. Right? And it's interesting because what's the next chapter about? Yeah. The cowherd boys told Mother Yashoda that Krishna had been eating dirt. Right? Do children eat dirt? Yep. Yes. And what do Mum and Dad think about eating dirt? Not impressed. Right, so what do you do? And Krishna said that he hadn't been eating dirt. It was just a conspiracy. This is very common. This is very common, especially in Asian culture. If somebody is accused of doing something, they say, I didn't do anything. They're all just ganging up on me. Right? It's a conspiracy. Very common excuse. And it's genuine, it's bona fide, because that's how Krishna defended himself also. That's why people do it. I didn't do anything. It's all these guys' fault. Huh? So then, there's a description here of all the things that Mother Yashoda saw. The whole sky, right? The higher planetary systems and the earth. So she saw the residence of the demigods, plus the earth. The luminaries in all directions. What's a luminary? What's luminary mean? In one word, starts with an L. Lights. Yeah, lights. Luminary is a light. So what does that refer to? What's a luminary? The luminaries in all direction. Yep. Stars. Yeah, the star. And it's mentioned here, the sun, the moon. Right, these are all luminaries, right? Then fire, air, the seas, islands, mountains, rivers. And Prabhupada comments that the rivers are called Nagan Tat Duhitri, which is very interesting. look at the word duhitrin or duhitri, right? Duhitri means what? Duhitri means what in English? Duhitri. What does it mean in English? Daughter. Isn't that interesting? Look at the construction of Duhitri and daughter. And daughter has, if you look at it, it's D-A-U-G-H. It's got an H in the middle. Same with Duhitri. Right? Very similar, not the same, but interesting the similarity, isn't it? Duhitri and daughter. Right? So, the rivers are called the daughters of the mountains, right? Because the rain falls on the mountains and then collects in the streams and the tributaries of the rivers. The River Murray, for example. Where does the River Murray come from? How many of you have heard of the River Murray? Please raise your hands. Okay, good. It's the biggest river in Australia. Although, mind you, compare it to some of the really big rivers and it just looks like a creek. But where does it come from? Where does the River Murray come from? Any of you guys done geography at school? Yeah? Perth? No, it's not. What's that? Swan River in Perth. Yes, good. Yep, Swan River. Victoria. Yes, yeah, close. You're getting warmer. Where does it come from?
Is it New South Wales?
Kind of, yes. But whereabouts in New South Wales? New South Wales and Victoria. In the Alps, in the mountains, right? So the River Murray is the daughter of the Australian Alps. Right? Interesting. Forests, and Prabhupada makes a point that the forests grow because of the water coming from the mountains. Right? So in one sense you could say the forests are also the children of the mountains, if we extend that analogy a little bit further. And all kinds of living entities, moving and non-moving. So what did she see, practically speaking, when Krishna opened his mouth? What did she see? Yeah, almost everything. Almost everything. And what was her response? What was Mother Yashoda's response to seeing the Virat Rupa in Krishna's mouth? What was her response? Huh? She was bewildered, yeah, she became a little fearful. Became a little fearful. It's mentioned in the verse that we'll study tomorrow. I was going to read it, but then I thought, oh, better not. But I'll give you a brief preview. She was bewildered. Now, it's interesting, isn't it? When Arjuna had heard of the opulences of Krishna in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, what did he ask for? What did Arjuna ask for after he'd heard from Krishna of Krishna's opulences? What did he ask for? Huh? He wanted to see everything in one place. Right? He wanted to see everything in one place. Now, he had to ask Krishna to give him the eyes to see that form. Huh? Couldn't you see it naturally? Interesting, Mother Yashoda was able to see the Virat Rupa in Krishna's mouth just like that. Right? Yeah. So what did Arjuna see in the manifestation of the Virat Rupa? What did Krishna reveal to him? Huh? Saw everything. But specifically, what did he see? Everyone was dying. What does Krishna say at the end? Time I am, the destroyer of all worlds, of everything, effectively, right? He saw all of the participants in the Battle of Kurukshetra being destroyed within what? What are they? Teeth, yes. Teeth. The teeth of the Virat Rupa. Very interesting. What Krishna revealed to Mother Yashoda was almost, what should we call it? Unchallenging. Right? Not challenging. Although, if you looked in your child's mouth and saw, what? And she did too, by the way. Right? She was scared by it. Somewhat. Little bit. Right? Describes her heart fluttered. And it mentions she looked around like a deer that's been caught. Right? So there's a response. There was a response from Mother Yashoda. But then, what did she do? And compare that what Arjuna did. When Arjuna saw the universal form, what was his response? What was Arjuna's response? Huh? Petrified. And started sweating. Right? Started sweating. And then what did he ask Krishna to do? Stop. Right? Woo. And he wanted to see his four-armed form, then his two-armed form. And his response was striking compared to Mother Yashoda. Krishna revealed everything to Arjuna externally, but to Mother Yashoda internally, or at least in his mouth. Right? And so it's interesting that Mother Yashoda's response was, "Oh, Lord Narayan, protect my son." Right? And so Arjuna's response was awe and reverence, because his relationship is what? What's Krishna and Arjuna's relationship? Huh? Sakyam, yes, friendship. But in this particular situation, how was Arjuna accepting Krishna? How was he accepting him? Yeah, not as his friend. Not as his friend. And in fact, he's accepting Krishna as if he's the dasya, the servant, right? And so he apologizes for being too friendly. Right? He says, I laid on the bed with you, I kicked you with my foot. Too familiar. So when he sees Krishna in the form of the Virat Rupa, the form of the universe, he becomes fearful, and awe and reverence naturally is manifest, right? Naturally manifest. But what does Mother Yashoda do? She just prays. Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu, 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 Vishnu. Protect my child. Right? Protect my child. And so the Acharyas say that this is proof of the supremacy of the residents of Vrindavan and their relationship with Krishna. Is that even when Krishna reveals himself as the SPOG, you know what the SPOG is? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, they can't see him in that role. Their relationship is far more more intimate, right? More intimate. So this is a very important aspect, a repeated aspect, right? Or a repetition. This understanding and appreciation of the relationship of the residents of Vrindavan with Krishna and their intimacy and their friendship, or in this case, this is higher than friendship, because Arjuna is obviously very intimate associate of Krishna, but different, because when the Virat Rupa is revealed to him, of course it's different. It's for a different purpose too, by the way. Krishna wants to show Arjuna that actually all of the enemies, on the battlefield arrayed before him, they've already been destroyed by his arrangement, right? Whereas the Aishwarya mood, or the Aishwarya, the identity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is revealed to the residents of Vrindavan, in this case Mother Yashoda. And what does she do? She forgets it. Or she ignores it. Or she's perturbed, but she's thinking, oh, maybe this is another demon's coming to Vrindavan, and prays to the Lord. Narayan, you don't pray to Krishna, but prays to Narayan. Please protect my son. In fact, the residents of Vrindavan think, and we've seen this in earlier verses, they think because of our pious activities, our son Krishna is being protected. Huh? We must have performed many pious activities in our past lives so that our little boy Krishna, when the Rakshasa came to eat him, right, to capture him and eat him, because of our pious activities, he was protected. This is described earlier. So that, I used to see this with my mum, how strongly the maternal mood is in a mother, right? Because my mum used to get upset because we wouldn't let her cook, right? And if you don't let your mum cook for you, then that means, at least as far as my mum was concerned, I was a rascal. I always was a rascal. But even still, even though I was a rascal, my mum still wanted to do things, serve. It's just natural for her to serve. So the deal was, Mum could help cut up the veggies and help Achincha Rupa cook, right? And she used to doing the washing, right? Do the washing and iron the clothes, which Achitya didn't mind. But my mum was satisfied just by doing that service. And that was just natural. She was, and not just for me and my brothers. Mums just like to serve their children. Right? Natural, it's natural. So we see that with Mother Yashoda, that natural affection for Krishna, that love for Krishna overrides, and we see it also in the gopis. You know, when Krishna left the rasa dance, the gopis became completely upset and disturbed by the fact that Krishna had disappeared. And they went running around in the forest to try to find him. And then Krishna appeared in the form of Lord Narayan. Right? And they asked Lord Narayan, "Where's Krishna?" Now, when Radharani came, he couldn't maintain the ruse. Couldn't. Because her affection was so strong for Krishna, he had to appear as Krishna. And so, again, an indication of, or an example of, how the affection that the devotees, the Brajabasis have for Krishna can even override Krishna's, what should we say, Krishna's supremacy. Yes, they defeat him with their love. Right? So when Radharani sees Lord Narayan and asks him, "Where's Krishna?" he has to reveal himself because of her strong ties of affection and love. So, yeah, this pastime, amongst all of these pastimes, reveals how the Braja Prem defeats Aishwarya. Braja Prem, love for Krishna in the mood of the residents of Vrindavan, demonstrates the superiority. This is like I mentioned the other day. Lord Chaitanya was teasing Venkatabhata, and asked him, you know, if Lakshmi is always situated on the chest of Lord Narayan, then why does she perform austerities to enter into the Rasalila with Krishna? Huh? And one of the responses of Venkatabhata was that the pastimes of Vrindavan are sportive. They're more attractive because of their intimacy and their natural manifestation and display of intimacy and affection on a very personal and intimate level. So we're fortunate to have this opportunity to witness these displays of affection that the residents of Vrindavan have for Krishna. And of course, that meditation for us is inspiration in devotion, in devotional service. That's why these are very important pastimes, because they inspire the devotees to also serve Krishna in that same mood. Which is really, and you know, that's really the essence, a lot of that is the essence of what we do in serving. So the interesting thing is that in a temple environment, especially where the deity is worshipped, and especially here, we're worshipping Radha Vallabha, then those same experiences of rasa can be relished by those who render service to the deities, especially to Radha Vallabha, right? Without consideration of anything for ourselves is the idea. And that's why Prabhupada said, when he came here, he said, this is not Melbourne, this is Vaikuntha, right? And then he said, this is Vrindavan. He didn't say this is just Vaikuntha. He said, of course, Vrindavan is in Vaikuntha, but of course it's the topmost planet in Vaikuntha. And that's where these most intimate and affectionate relationships are experienced. And so the interesting thing is that even though we're at 197 Dank Street, Albert Park, theoretically, right, we're theoretically at an address, in Albert Park, in Victoria, in Australia, in the southern hemisphere of, the Earth planet. But actually, we're not. Right? This is the potency of a place, especially where Radha Krishna is worshipped, right? And especially a place like this, where, all of the deities have Prabhupada brought Radha Vallabha personally to Melbourne, right? Installed Gaur Nitai, went on Rath Yatra with Lord Jagannath. So Prabhupada has created these spiritual domains, right? Spiritual atmosphere, spiritual environment that replicates the same feelings of affection or uncovers for us, especially if we engage in the 9 items of bhakti, right? Japa, hearing the Bhagavatam, serving the deities especially serving the deity. That replicates or duplicates the same atmosphere as experienced in Vrindavan. Huh? That's why when we come here, we just feel, yep, made it. Huh? I remember we used to go on Sankirtan. Well, we're still going on Sankirtan, just different ways. And we'd be out selling paintings or selling candles or selling whatever we made a good profit out of. And then to come home. It was also, you know what one of the reliefs was? One of the relief of coming home? You could take your wig off. But much, much better than that. Because you got a wig on. Sometimes you go into a pub to sell candles and somebody say to you, "Hey mate, I'll give you $10 if you take your wig off." Sorry mate. Buy a candle. So, but it was just a relief of driving in the back gate, right? And just being in the association of the devotees and in Radha Vallabha's, domain. Very powerful. And these are the things that we relish. We relish the mood of being in Radha Vallabha's domain. I mean, you see it. People come to the temple and they'll say, "Something about this place. I don't know what it is, but it's special, right? It's special, and of course very attractive. That rendering of service to Krishna is very attractive, and everybody wants that actually, because there's that mood or that rasa is difficult to achieve, almost impossible to achieve. Without the association of the devotees, in the association of the devotees and the performance of bhakti, or sadhana bhakti, and even prema bhakti, right? And we experience that through chanting Hare Krishna, for example, right? We feel the upliftment, right? The arms go up, naturally go up, We start dancing. In Prahlad Maharaja's example, or even Narada Muni, or even we heard yesterday the story of, was anybody here who was at the teacher training course yesterday? No. They told the story of how Narada Muni got some Mahaprasadam, I think it was. Yeah, Narada Muni, right? And he started dancing and shouting and carrying on. And then Lord Shiva said, "Hey, what's going on? How come you're so ecstatic?" And Narada Muni said, "I just had some Mahaprasadam." And Lord Shiva said, "Well, you're my brother. Where's my piece?" And then Narada Muni discovered there was a little piece of rice on his hands. So he gave it to Lord Shiva. And then Lord Shiva went completely ecstatic. And he was so ecstatic that he was disturbing the earth. And Bhumi said, "Hey, stop it." Right? And they couldn't stop Lord Shiva, so they had to call for Parvati, right? The wife had to come along and break the reverie of her husband. She has the potency, the wife has the potency to wake the husband up. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" But he was, naturally showing these signs of ecstasy, naturally. And that's what we experience, which is very interesting. It's one of the reasons why Rupa Goswami in the nectar in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu gives us what we should do to access these feelings, right? Because they're so attractive and so appreciable by the devotees. But he mentions there are things that you can do in the material world which will block it, right? Which is offences, aparad, right? And there are different kinds of aparads, right? Seva aparads, which will block our progress, especially in deity worship, right? And why we have high standards of cleanliness, right? This is, and why we have high standards of punctuality. Right? Because that then ensures that Krishna is the cynosure, right? He's the object of what we do. Not that, I'll just turn up whenever I like, or I don't turn up if I don't feel like it, right? Which is quite, the devotees used to say, "Oh, go to Melbourne, it's pretty intense there," right? This is before I came to Melbourne. The worship of Radha and Krishna is more exacting, right? And if you commit offences in serving Radha and Krishna, there's a greater reaction, right? And what's the reaction? What's the reaction if we commit offences to the deities, or more carefully or more seriously commit offences to the devotees, right? Or commit offences to the holy name, right? Which is what we chant in the morning. And what's the first offence? What's the first offence? Yeah, offend the devotees, right? So if we do these things, then we can be cut off. Right, it's a bit, and Prabhupada gives the example, and it's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, Nehabi Kramanasosti, Pratyo Vayo, Avidyate, yeah, out of ignorance, right? We may commit offences, but avidyate actually is, we may not know the potency of devotional service, but if we perform devotional service, the benefits accumulate, like in a bank account, right? And whatever devotional service we do, it keeps building in the bank account. Good, huh? And even if you spend some of it, it builds the bank account even more. This is a great bank account, right? This is the kind of bank account we all love, where you put money in and it increases, and you take money out and it still increases, right? Performance of devotional service, right? But sometimes, you know, you may have a lot of money in a bank, but you forget your PIN on your card, right? So your money's there, but you can't get it, right? So offences are like that. If we commit offences, even though we may have a big bank balance, we can't take advantage of it because we blocked the access because of committing offences. So very interesting that the opportunity to relish the rasa of the Brajabasis is available for us. Right? But we have to be careful, because in worshipping Radha Krishna, or in our case, Radha Krishna, Prabhupada installed our little Radha Krishna. Right? Little Radha Krishna here are not called Radha Ballabha. Interestingly, they're called Radha Krishna. That's how Prabhupada installed them. But then Prabhupada installed Radha Ballabha as Radha Ballabha. I heard just recently that there's a devotee who's come from Vrindavan, and his family served Radha Ballabha in Vrindavan. So he was very happy to come to Melbourne and serve Radha Ballabha here. So, that mood of Braja Bhav is available, but of course it requires engagement in devotional service, sadhana, and avoiding of offences, especially avoiding seva aparads. So that's why, keep the kitchen clean, wear clean clothes, be on time, don't speculate with your cooking. Right? Anybody here a cook? You're a cook, okay. Anybody else cook? Yep. Do you follow recipes or do you speculate? Speculate, huh? Yeah. That's why Korma wrote so many cookbooks. And why Korma was so fastidious about deity standards and punctuality. Korma taught, one of the things that Korma taught, many things that Korma taught me, but one of the things that Korma taught me was every morning when you get up, scrub your fingernails. Do you do that? Scrub your fingernails? I don't feel clean unless I've scrubbed my fingernails in the morning. Right? And I always have this vision of Korma scrubbing his, and Korma had wore glasses, he'd always squint to look at his fingernails. So these are very simple little things, right? Keep things clean. And we saw yesterday a video of Jamuna describing her first day with Srila Prabhupada when she came to was it 26 2nd Avenue? I think, yeah, it was, to celebrate the wedding of her sister, right? And she would ask Prabhupada, can I have a drink of water? Prabhupada would say, go and wash your hands. And she said, Prabhupada, not Prabhupada, wasn't Prabhupada then, Swamiji, can I have a cigarette? Prabhupada, what was Prabhupada's response? Go and wash your hands. Yeah. So cleanliness, punctuality, maintain high standards of presentation, of preparation. This is then by those activities, over time, we'll start to relish the mood of service. And that mood of service, or that love for Krishna, that affection for Krishna, that attraction for Krishna, will naturally manifest in the heart. Huh? Good deal? Yeah. Requires a bit of hard work though, by the way. Yeah. Okay, any comments or questions? Any thoughts?
I don't know much about Vishwas recently started.
Yeah.
Read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, sharing but my initial understanding of
Where's the microphone? Got a mic? Or just say it really loudly.
I've heard in a lot of classes about the love for Vishwas, Krishna's love for Vishwas.
Yes.
I was trying to understand that. My understanding of that is the consciousness, the state of consciousness that Vishwasi have. It is a state of consciousness which you can have here as well.
That's right. Yep.
Prabhupada said, as you said as well. So I think that would require a very, very high level of faith, high degree of
Yes, it does. Yes.
A little bit of doubt can deplete your faith,
Yes.
can bring it down,
Yes, definitely.
and the level of the faith determines your state of consciousness as well.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So Rupa Swami explains that the beginning of devotion is faith. Ado Shraddha. In the beginning there has to be some faith in the existence of a higher power, right? Might not even be a detailed understanding of who God is, but there's just an appreciation that there's a higher power in control. Right?
And I think that's why seeing the Lord, Supreme Lord's, like Arjuna when he was seeing his universal form,
Yes.
that nailed it as well.
Nailed it.
The faith, like obviously Krishna, Arjuna had a lot of faith as his friend, but then by seeing Lord's universal form, his faith was cemented, we could say.
Yes, but isn't it interesting? Mother Yashoda ignores the universal form, right?
Because she is the
And
mother.
doesn't see Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is considered superior, right? Because of their intimacy of their relationship, and it's not interfered with by awe and reverence.
And I think going back to the environment and mood, because the proximity has a role in that as well, because if you have close proximity to the source, then that can develop your faith stronger.
Awareness of? Yes.
So you could be chanting from anywhere, which would have the good effect, but if you are chanting in temple, it's a different effect. So that could be because of the proximity to the deities and the mood of the temple.
Yes. Yep. You're going to say something, Hare Gopal?
Staying close to the temple.
Staying close to the temple. Oh, living close to the temple. Not necessarily, but it certainly has its benefits. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Because at the end of the day, we were trying to strengthen our consciousness, right? So
Yes. It
train
affects
our
consciousness.
Mm.
Yeah. That's why a lot of devotees like to live in Albert Park or St Kilda, or at least close to the temple.
Okay.
Definitely.
The more often we come, the more we are strengthening our consciousness.
Yep.
And first we need to be more conscious to be Krishna conscious. Just That's just my personal thing, like just be alive. Is
That's why it's here, and that's why we're here.
Thank you.
Even at a greater expense, right? We live closer to the temple. Right? Not that. That's actually a very interesting point. I've, for the last 49 years, I guess it is, 70, what is it? No, 40, 48. I haven't lived more than a kilometre away from 197 Dank Street. And gotten used to it. But I don't know how I would feel if I wasn't that fortunate. Yeah, interesting point.
And it could be your pious deeds as well, because I was living in South Hare. I used to go to Work Street during COVID and walk to temple, walk to South Hare. That was a long walk. And then I was doing it like every day, and for years, and trying to figure out why I'm coming to temple. First, I was coming for prasadam, obviously, but things kept changing. Refinement was happening gradually. And then I was thinking, maybe I should live in Albert Park somewhere. And then I was looking for the houses, and eventually I said, let's see what happens. So eventually I found something in South Bank, and so I can just walk down now to temple. Yeah. But it's got to do with the grace as well, because the first house I looked at, I bought it, and it just happened. Like it was just my consciousness as well.
It didn't just happen. It's Krishna's arrangement.
And because imagine if I was living in Werribee, then it would have been different. Yeah.
Oh.
Of course. So
that's hellish.
So I think it's interconnected.
And
consciousness.
It manifests in devotees' frustration also. I'm living in Werribee, and you're living in Albert Park. How come you can live in Albert Park and I've got to live in Werribee? Huh? Yeah. It's not fair. Uttama Bhakti, you want to say something? No?
I think that also builds your faith as well, because then you can connect things.
Yeah, of course. Of course, it all builds.
You're seeing the evidence live.
Right? We start with faith, and then we buy a house in the city of Port Phillip, and we feel ourselves very fortunate, despite the fact we're now working like an ass to pay off the mortgage. Right? We're close to the bakery though. So we can always get some. Aniruddha was telling me yesterday, she says, it's amazing. The families that come to the temple, they buy the olive bread, right? And it's still hot, right? And then what do? They sit down on one of the seats, they eat the whole lot. And it's like they've never experienced that before, right? Whereas when I was a kid, going to the bakery on a Monday, because the bakery was closed on Saturday and Sunday, or closed certainly on a Sunday, and that means that anything that you buy from the bakery on a Saturday, it's not fresh. It was cooked on Friday, right? So Monday morning was a celebration because you got the hot, fresh bread again, right? And so everybody's like, whoa. And the Aniruddha's comment was, they've never experienced it before. They haven't experienced hot bread fresh out of the oven. But then what happens when they do? They just whoop, bloop. Oh God. In fact, Aniruddha told us a story a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago. And she said that a family had come and they bought 2 loaves of banana bread, right? And by the time they got home, have a guess what had happened? It was all finished. Right? So they drove back to the temple to get some more. But have a guess what had happened? It had all been sold out. It was like, whoa, what's going on here? So, it's amazing what a little bit of faith, right, can do. And then that propels us to do more. To do more. And even that may be an inconvenience. It may not be, the serving Krishna may not, in some cases, be easy. Right? May not be easy. In many cases, may not be easy, right? But we're still happy to do the service. As we see with the residents of Vrindavan, they're happy. Of course, we can't imitate the residents of Vrindavan. We have to maintain our awe and reverence. Very interesting. In our situation, we can't treat Krishna with too much familiarity, because that'll also cut off our access to relishing that mood of the Brajabasis. Very interesting. So our deity, that's why we put a gate up. If the doors are open, sometimes an unknowing person will come and walk into the deity room, and the devotees are like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" Right? So it's to protect us from that being too familiar. That doesn't mean we can't relish the mood of being familiar, but we have to maintain that distance from the deity, or that mood of awe and reverence, in order to access the closer. Very interesting. So again, that's why understanding the science of self-realization is important, because there are elements which we can, in all elements actually of bhakti, we should follow the instructions of the previous acharyas of our Founder-Acharya. But in being careful, learning the system and following it, then we get that opportunity, access to Brajadam, Braja Prem. Relished in a Chincharupa's olive bread. Huh? Or, there's, who is it? I think Sanatan Giridhari, is it Sanatan Giridhari? Or Sanatan Giridhari, yeah. His daughter, Rinda? Yeah. A Chincharupa is now her donut daddy. So whenever when she meets a Chincharupa, she says, "Can we have some donuts?" Okay. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare